Welcome to ADA Compliance in ePortfolio. In this lesson, we will learn how to make our ePortfolio accessible. And what does it mean when somebody says, what is ADA and what is ADA compliant? ADA is a civil right law that prohibits the discrimination against individuals with disabilities in all areas of public life, including jobs, schools, transportation, and all public and private places that are open to general public. The section law 508 is amended to the United States. It took place in 1973. It is a federal law that mandates all websites' content should be accessible to public with disabilities. As on the screen you see, in America, 1 out of 5 people has a disability, some kind of disability. So to make our content accessible is much more favorable to everyone. This is a small video that shows what is Section 508 compliance is and what things you should have. That's a lot of material that has to be accessible on web. Web accessibility is very important since now internet is easily accessible and most of the things are available on internet. So it is important that we make internet as accessible as possible. Just like we make buildings, we might make roads, we make other places accessible. Same way now internet is the area that also requires accessible material or accessible content so that everybody can access it together. Web accessibility is important for me, as you see in this animation, because it does not prevent anyone from accessing the material on the internet. The video on the screen actually the students shares their experiences when they use internet, and these students have different kinds of disabilities, and they share their experience as to what happens when they use web and the kind of hurdles they have to go through to be able to access the material on the web. So this video shares the students' experience. I'm not going to go over the video, but this is a wonderful way to really find out the kind of problems students go through. Then we have on the screen ADA titled 3 lawsuits that continues to rise. Last year in 2015, 8% lawsuits have risen because of content not being accessible on the web. And in the graph you see which are the states which are sued the most. California, as you can see, the highest. Florida is the second highest, then New York, then Texas. And depending on the year, if it's a particular year, then these states varies. The lawsuits vary. So it's not just 1 year, and it's not the same statistics every year. So in 2015, it seems like the lawsuits are much higher in California state. Actually, in Texas, the lawsuits are much higher. In the pie chart, you're able to determine right away which ones are the ones that are getting sued a lot more. This is a pie chart to give you an idea, a quick glance to the statistics report. Then what are the benefits of using Accessible ePortfolio? The benefits are varies. The functional definition of accessibility, it provides the students the opportunity to acquire the same information that everybody else does. it also engages in the same interaction. If the student has a disability, they will not be left out. Students will be able to enjoy the same services. And not just students, anybody in general. If you're putting something on the web, it's not just you don't know, you have no control who's looking at your content. So it's a wonderful way to provide accessibility to everyone. And the things that should be kept in mind when you're making the portfolio accessible is that what kinds of things should be accessible. So there are documents that generally people put in, and most of the time PDFs are the most common ones, because you can't change anything in PDF, so people prefer to use PDF documents much more often. But we have to be careful what kind of PDFs we are using. Are they scanned PDF? If they are scanned PDFs, they turn into image, and then the screen reader is not able to read those images unless you describe them. So that's not a good idea to have a scanned PDF. Then we have to avoid underlines. A lot of time it confuses students when they see the underline under the text. They think it's a link. Then another thing is what kind of fonts we should be using. Sans serif fonts such as Arial and Helvetica, for example, are the most accessible fonts. And then keep in mind that not everybody is visually impaired. Some people have low vision, so for them having a bigger font size is very helpful. Then I provide this animation video which goes through what is accessible, what is inaccessible content, and it actually gives a good idea. It's a good way for people to know what inaccessible content means. This animation goes through that. Then there comes a very important aspect, which is multimedia. In multimedia, the audio, the video files, they should have the description. For visually impaired people, it's very important that we have audio description of the action taking place in video. And for the hearing impaired person, it's important also to have text description or some kind of a transcript available with the video, so that the students who are not able to hear, they can actually read the closed captions or read the transcript that's associated with the multimedia. So that's another thing to keep in mind. And then I provide this video which talks about US laws and requirements for captioning online video. A lot of times people don't understand how important it is, and these are few reasons that the institutions or the companies are getting sued, because they put the multimedia content which is not accessible. So the video goes through that and provides a little bit of information about that. And the next slide is what is a benefit of creating accessible graphics. A lot of times students have graphics and which does not have any descriptions, which is not helpful again to the person who is visually impaired, who's using screen reader. They don't know what is the image, so you have to describe the image, the graphs, the charts, anything that is visual should be described. And also should provide description of clear links. Links should not be long HTTP, www, // not that kind of link. It should be text links which should have link embedded in it. So for example, if you're providing a link for a Google website, instead of writing www.google.com something, it's a good idea to just say Google link, and then have the link embedded in the Google word. that really helps, and screen reader is able to give a student idea. If the link doesn't work, they can just type in that word and they can find it on the internet. Then we have some things that we have to keep in mind. Avoid using blinking photographs or animations, so that students with the problem that the students having a seizure problem should not have any issues. And then use of color is also important, because some colors are not visible to the people who are color blind or who have some difficulties with colors, some colors. So we have to keep in mind what color to avoid. Generally red and green are dark red and green are considered to be much more problematic. And then how to use backgrounds. Lighter backgrounds with darker fonts are always much more accessible, and how we should avoid the patterns that we use for the background. Some people use images or some other kind of patterns which screen reader has difficulty reading, so it's not clear. So if you're using something like that, it's a good idea to just describe it. So this is a stack of pictures that I have used, and I will go to the next one. And also another important thing is how the website or the content is easily navigation wise accessible. If the students should be provided clear instructions. In general, we should always keep in mind to have clear instructions, whether it's students or anyone else. Provide ease of use. The things should be very clearly labeled. It should have proper way to guide you from one content to another. So it's also important that people who are coming to your site or coming to your content are not frustrated, and they would not want to come back. So it's important that you provide easy navigation, so that people are able to access the material, and then if they need, they can also come back to it because it was easy to access. So that's also another good way to provide your content more widely. And then I have the resources on the page. I've used multiple resources to make this way lesson. And thank you very much all for watching this lesson, and you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.